Welcome to part 3. So it is now Sunday. Yesterday, Saturday, I got the head on. Pretty sore today from doing all that torquing, but so now I got my table back, got my tools the way I like it, so I'm not fumbling around. The toolbox comes in really handy too. I used to have all my tools in these drawers, and I picked this up when I worked at Lowe's, and this was in the back warehouse, and a customer returned it because one of the drawers didn't slide right. It was an $1,800 toolbox. It had a refrigerator and a stereo. I took the refrigerator out and the stereo out, but I think I picked it up for like $380. So I said, okay, gigantic. Comes in real handy. So now I'm just going to start working on this side. And I got my strings. I used to have this all organized, but it's kind of messed up. Tools get that way when you use them. There. See? That helped keep that gasket in place. Perfecto. So now there's just starting at the back. There's that water inlet right there. And there's this put the new O-ring on there, or you'll have a leak. Still don't understand why it says somebody put out. I might have done that because I had never done one of these cars before 10 years ago. Maybe I put that so I'd remember or something. I don't know. I don't remember. But anyways, yeah, so I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on this so that it doesn't get pinched or anything. About 45 minutes, taking your time. Got the water hose on, brackets on tight, manifold is all on, cold start injector is on with a new gasket and tight. The wiring raceway here is back on. I had to loosen a couple of these things to pull it up to get to this. Got the dipstick secured there, and we've got the hose clamps for the wonderful water hose. And next up will be the exhaust. For that, you got to play with it. You can't tighten everything. Everything has to remain loose, and you have to crawl under there, and it's fun. Yeah, so leave all the bolts loose about that far out so this thing can move back and forth, so you can align these flanges, one here and one over here. Bolts about that long. You need extensions with swivels, laying on your back, doing these blind holes. It's fun, but at least that's done. So now all I got left is get the timing chain set back up with the sprocket, tension it, then start putting everything else back together, and then we'll be able to fill it up with some coolant and fire it up and let it warm up. Well, it is Monday. No, it's Tuesday. I'm losing track of time. So there's maybe about an hour and a half of solid work if you had no interruptions left to do. Got all that stuff to put on. I got the timing gear, camshaft gear to mount, and all the ignition, and then tighten up all the belts. Once I get this on though, I'm going to turn the crank and get the pistons to go up and down. I put some oil in there. I want to get it lubed so it's not a dry start. Touch up the valve cover just a little bit. A little black heat paint, or any kind of paint you got, just to clean it up a little bit like that. So yeah, I'm just gonna start. Okay, gears back on. 1, 2, 3. Put some of that Loctite stuff on these threads. It's got an alignment pin right here, so you can't really go wrong. Then you have this pin that we're putting back in. Make sure that the threads to it are pointing out for the next person, and then just nice and flush like that. Okay, here's the chain tensioner. And you're just supposed to take it out, clean it, make sure it's nice and clean. Get all this stuff off of here. It's pretty clean. It's pretty smooth. So that spring goes in there like that. Applies tension. When it's compressed, and then there's this part here. It's got a bevel on one side. Oh, hold on. I guess they both look the same, but this one looks more beveled. That goes in, and then there's this right here. The spring fits in here, and then you put it back in with this guy here, and it's kind of tricky. You got to push in. You have it in there. You really got to push this thing in to thread it. And I'm going to put some thread sealer, some gasket sealer on here, clean this up, because it's a source of a possible oil leak if you So just posted this on Benz World. So I'm kind of worried about these timing marks. So this is what your manual shows, and this is what I did at first. I was researching it. Some of these have a T mark. Mine does have a T mark, but this is what it shows for the M103. It's that mark there. There's the pointer right here. And then you've got a 0 mark, 0, 1. So I've got the mark 0, this 0, 1. But then the top of the cam should be lined up with this. All these 3, 1, 2, 3 should be straight across. And when I took it apart, it looked pretty straight to me. Maybe it wasn't. So first I verified that with the spark plugs removed, I stick a small long dowel down the hole, and as I turn the crankshaft, when it hits top dead center, that dowel will go up, stop, and then start to go down. And just when it goes to the highest point, you're at top dead center right there. So I verified that and this mark. But that. So I'm thinking I got to take that all apart again, and you know, how did that turn? It's pretty hard to turn these things, you know. Only thing I can think of is maybe my son, you know, I told him, I said he was trying to find someplace to help me hold it, you know, mount the head onto the block. I said, just hold it from the front sprocket and a little hole on the side. And I don't know if he has superhuman strength and managed to turn it that much. I don't know. But I'm gonna take it all apart and see if I can turn that crankshaft and get this to line up to this mark right here. Okay. Yeah, see, it can get confusing if you look at, this is a maintenance manual. You look at that looks like a T. This is for checking, checking basic position of camshaft. So this one's on the T. So crankshaft, rotate until top dead center marking on vibration dampener is aligned with top dead center pointed arrow. Okay. And then setting hole or setting pin camshaft must be opposite cast marking 20 on first camshaft bearing bracket. So there's the casting right there. This is the first camshaft bearing bracket. There's the casting. Then there's a little hole right there, and that's supposed to line up, right? Then you have this on the cam gear, and you put a little paint on here. I don't know why, but they say put a little bit of paint on there. Let's see if it says it on here. No. You put paint right here so that you know that this oval hole goes into the pin on the camshaft. So the only thing I can think of is when my son helped me put the head on, he was grabbing the front of the camshaft right there when we're picking it up, and maybe it turned just a little bit. I don't know, that's the only thing I can think of. But I got to take it apart and put it back, put it right, hopefully. Either that or I never really noticed it. Maybe when the guy, well, maybe when I had it, oh God, 10 years ago, serviced, had a complete, you know, machine shop do the complete head and everything. And they take all this apart. Maybe when they put it back, it was just off a little bit and it ran fine like that. I don't know. I'll find out, I guess. Okay, I got it back together, made some adjustments so that all of these 3 lines, one, 2, 3, line up. And then the timing for the number 1 cylinder is all the way up. So that should be okay. Fingers crossed, you never know. I know when I did my van, I was 1 tooth off and I had to take it all apart again. So, no big deal, I guess, right? I'll just shut it down if it runs funny, but it should be okay. So we got this wonderful timing cover, and it just, you know, it just goes on like this, right? It sits on a couple dowels. Yeah. It sits on a couple dowels, so there's a center seal that's going to go in. And then down below for this, there's this rubber gasket, which I hate. I hate this design. And it's a just a weird gasket that goes like, it goes like this. And it goes in the grooves, and it's supposed to stop the oil from leaking. Well, this entire area is just slinging oil, so everything that's in here is going to have oil coming out of it. So if there's just a gasket for this bottom part, what about this part? You know? Let's see where to get it. Okay. Goes like that. And these things like to leak oil. So I'm just going to put some RTV along both sides of this. You know, I don't know what else to do. It never says anything about that in the directions of the manual. Just 2 dabs right here and you're good. But this thing is bathed in oil, so it's slinging oil big time in here. You know. Then there's oil from the head right here that probably works its way over there too. So I'm gonna try that. What else? One other thing that really puzzles me is why is there a big hole right here? A bolt goes through, right, and goes in there. That's the only big hole in this timing cover. So that seemed like that could leak oil too somehow. If I have it sealed all around here, it should be okay, but it gets by the seal, you can go in this and then out the bolt hole. Give you a nice drip, driveway drip, let's call them. So it's the only frustrating part about this whole thing. You do it all nice and everything, and then 6 months later you go, where's that leak coming from? Oh, right there. And then you'll see right here on this top of this bracket, you'll see a pool of oil on it. As you're driving around, that little lake of oil goes from one side to the other. You know, you get home and then it's just drips on the driveway. Anyway, so I'm just gonna I guess I'm just gonna put that on and get the seal on. Upper timing cover. Four bolts. This thing needs to, I gotta unloosen this. This goes out this way a little bit. Do that now before I forget. hold it with my hand. So we got that. We've got the shock absorber here for the belt tensioner. Unloosen that nut a little bit so it moves. Get this thing on here. And we've got to remember to tighten that. You have this kind of unloosened or loose to get the belt tensioner to tighten the belt and stuff. Sometimes this can fight you. It did last time. I had to remove, I had to make this loose so that I could get this bolt back in. But the most important part is looking at the bottom of the gasket all the way along, all the way along. Where are you? All the way along, make sure it hasn't folded inward or you'll have an oil leak. So I got all this tight. Now it's time for this this seal. I'd put a little bit of grease on here or something, and we have to get it right. Got to kind of knock it into there, usually with a big socket, like big socket, like the one I did the crank with. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Yeah. Something like that. Then just lightly tap it in, or it'll distort. I'm gonna do that now. Okay, got the seal in. Kind of hard to get in. You put grease on it, you tap it in with a socket. Then sometimes it doesn't sit all the way. It'll push all the way through, so you got to be careful. Then I just put the wrench on the crank and I turned the engine over and observed it. See if there was any wobble in it, because it'll leak oil out of here and make a big mess too. It's a conspiracy. But yeah, that one looks pretty good. So now I'm just going to put the rotor, the ignition, spark plugs back in. Still trying to figure out. I forgot what this bolt here is for. It's just sitting there. I need to review some of my videos. That's why I take videos, so I can kind of remember what I did, if I did something wrong. All right. There's your rotor adapter. It's got one of these stars. What is it? T27. Put your insulator plate back on first, and then just keep it tight. Okay, that's on. Put some Loctite on that thread. Make sure this is loose like this. Okay. And then we can clean this rotor up a little bit. A little sandpaper. Same with the this doesn't look too bad. We can clean it up a little bit with a little sandpaper. Extend its life. That's about 10 years old. That's a new one. Or you can buy new ones if you want. Oh yeah, it's got 3 really tiny Allen. All right. Just notice the weirdest thing. See this right here? What the hell? There's a hole right here. Okay. That is the bolt. That's this bolt going all the way through. And I'm stopping right there. That stuff that I peeled off, that was old RTV that I put on the last time, and the new RTV pushed it out the bottom of the hole. So theoretically, if you don't put any sealant on here, you can have oil coming out here, and you can have oil, you know, coming into the spark plug well, or just running down here. So that is weird. I never noticed that before. God, what a weird setup. Why did they do that? Oh, we'll just let the hole go all the way through. So yeah, see, I put black RTV all the way along both sides here. Could have used a hot Hylamar, but I don't have enough of it. I did use a Hylamar down at both corners of the gasket. When you push the gasket down, put some Hylamar, dab. I put a dab on both corners, then laid the gasket, then put another dab right here. And this is what you want to use. Hylamar Racing Formula. Okay, so I've got the distributor cap cover on. I put some oil on the tops of all of these lifters, and everywhere in here where you see something shiny, squirt some oil on there. Over on this side too, you'll see shiny metal, like right there. It's hard to see, but just to lubricate it. So at this point, spark plugs are all in. I need, before I put those wires on, I got to put the valve cover on. Damn, this thing, yeah. Okay, gasket on. You can see the holes seem to be lined up. Feel back here, look with a mirror. There's a real weird, where is it? Where's my mirror? Right there. It's hard to see, but really hard to see here, but gotta look. Looks good. It's hard to film this, but there's a big round part. Fits in the thing. Feels like it's in. Test a couple of these bolts. Okay, get rid of this stuff. Got the TV on. I sure don't like. I'm too lazy to go change the channel. I'll have to use a wrench on that, maybe now. Okay. Come on, John, you can do it. Come on, not there. Well, looks like that one's out. Got a fresh tube. Put this on there. These things like to get loose on them by themselves, so yeah, that's good. Okay. Yeah, just do that, and then tighten them a little bit. Okay, so I've got it on. You tighten it. You can look at the. It's not very much force to tighten. You can look online; it'll tell you. Might be like 10 Newton meters, or 10 or 15. I've done it so many times I kind of know. And do it in a, starting from the center out. In a pattern like this. Spark plugs are in. I'm gonna not make it all pretty and put that cap or that cover on it. I'm just gonna leave it like this without a cover on this. So in case I've got to take it all apart, I won't go crazy. Now, one thing, I lost the oil cap. I literally had it an hour ago sitting right here. And it's gone. There it is. I found it. Gosh, I'm telling you, you start getting in a hurry and you can get upset, especially when your wife calls you and hassles you. When are you gonna be done with that stupid car? Okay, so we got this done. And tomorrow, I'm just going to put the belt on, and I'm going to tension the belt, and then I'll put the fan on. I'll leave the shroud off in case I got to take it apart again. I'm just worried about that timing mark. It was real bizarre the way that happened. No biggie. It'll just start and run like crap, and I'll just shut it off and take this apart and set it back another tooth or forward another tooth, whatever way it goes. I got to put some coolant in it, close all the drains down here, put an air cleaner on here in case it decides to backfire and catch on fire. And I think we'll be okay. We'll see. Okay, I got everything buttoned up here. This is all temporary. Fan clutch back on. I've got other videos for that. Look up random overheating. I took this whole front end apart 1,000,000 times. So let's just keep our fingers crossed. Got coolant in it. Keep our fingers crossed that timing mark is not bad. Not going to cause me any issues. Crap. Probably going to sputter a little bit at the beginning, but what are you going to do? Oh, let's fire it up. Let's take this thing off. Okay. I'll do it a couple times. Hey. Wow. The air pump is noisy. It's got bad bearings, but let's see what happens here. Lights. It's always scary for the first time, The only thing I hear is a lifter. We just got to get pumped up with oil. They are new lifters, but I'm sure they got drained. They'll fill up. So let's see. Let's change this. Start a new day. For some reason, this floor mat just probably would have to add coolant to. Yeah, lifter went away. Oh, good. Okay, seems to be running just fine. Just going around the block, getting the temperature up so this gasket can seal itself. Hopefully I did a good job. And you will too. Oil pressure good. Of course. He always gives it to me with freaking no gas in it. Like I tell him, I go, if I work on your car, put some gas in it because I'm gonna have to run it to test and stuff. It's got gas. He always lets it go down to just the reserve, just about. I go, don't do that. It's a 30-year-old car, and you've got all kinds of dirt and sediment that you don't even know about that's in your gas tank. That fuel pump picks that stuff up, runs it through the fuel distributor, plugs things up. Okay. Let it run a little while more. Should get to the 85 mark. So I did put that new thermostat in it, so it's gonna make it run cooler. Oh, so the new thermostat is this, opens up at the 75 mark. So we're at the 80 mark here. So the thermostat is open. Coolant is circulating. Let's go check the coolant level. How smooth that thing's running. Yeah. And we'll keep an eye out for oil leaks. My dreaded enemy. I don't see anything coming out front. That hole I was talking about is so weird. I looked at some pictures from a couple years ago, and it was there last time I did it. So it's not something that I did. I was thinking maybe I tightened the bolt, or the bolt's too long and it punched through. But it looks like it's been machined like that. That is good. The lady next door put this big old hole here. I'm like, get that out of here. Real estate people, huh? Ooh, that's hot. That's too hot. I'm gonna rev it a little bit. So I just gotta put the shroud back on, clean up the wires. rid of this stupid tent thing. Association will get it upset. You could have that in your driveway. Yeah, well, it's temporary, okay? The temp is up. Let's see if the air conditioning works. Blah, 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 blah. Which one is it? I have to check the belt tension a little bit. Put a little bit of coolant in it too. Could be air in the system, you never know. Yeah, just a little bit. You can hear the compressor. I think it's an original compressor, so it's a little wobbly sounding. But it's working. And the fans are coming on. See, that's great that their fans are coming on like that. Yeah, right at that 85 mark. That's when the fans are supposed to come on with the AC on high. I can hear the mono valve going on and on and on and on. So weird. Here's your mono valve. You hear that? From what I've read, that's normal. It's supposed to be doing that. Weird ass system. It's a Mercedes. It's engineered like no other car in the world. Yeah, you know. I mean, they are engineered well, but there are certain things that are like, well, why? Why do you want that thing clicking like that? It has power running to it all the time. I don't know if it's regulating flow, it's opening and closing, regulating flow of hot water. I don't know. Anyways, this thing does start to overheat it all. We are going to put in an electric fan. That'd be the ultimate cooling upgrade you could do to these cars, in my opinion. I shouldn't go over that 100 mark. It starts going over that 100 mark, you know that in a 100-degree day, and sucker's gonna overheat. Getting close to it. AC feels nice and cold. I'm gonna run this thing out of gas. Okay, we'll keep testing and I'll update. Okay, now we're just gonna let it cool down and then we'll burp the system of any air. That was a weird noise, like a pulley something, kind of moaning sound from the front, so I'll have to double check the belt tension and all that other fun stuff. But at least we're over the hurdle of the timing being off. God, that was scary. Well, so I got it all back together. fan shroud back on. The spark plugs are looking as good as they can with the beauty plastic. Coolant is up, it's not leaking. I need to put some gas in it and drive it for a little while, but usually you see something really wrong, and you'll see it right away, you know. So if anything happens, I will update, but so far the job is done. The total cost of this was, let's see, about $60 for that measuring, that bar for measuring the flatness. Straight edge, machinist straight edge, about $60 for that. About $138 for bolts and gasket. So getting close, about $200 there, maybe $22 for, let's see, some acid flush I did before, so you're about $228, $225. The copper spray about another $12, so say about $135, about $235 in my driveway. And it did take me about 8 days, but that's, you know, that's working maybe a couple hours a day. So whatever that ends up to, a Mercedes technician, they say 8 hours, they're done. But you know, what if the heads work? It's gonna take, you know, I guess it's 4 hours to take it out, 4 hours to put it back in. Still, I'm sure that in today's dollar in 2022, it'd probably be $3,500 at least. It is a lot of work. Anyways, have fun until next time.